Finally, the Clippers broke a long losing streak. We finally beat a pretty solid team at the moment. It was the Houston Rockets. They went on a run. They were beating a lot of teams. I believe they were on a 5-game, 6-game winning streak. They got a really good squad. They got a really good head coach. And the Clippers um, managed to pull it off and finally get a win. Um, it's been a frustration for the whole entire Clippers fan base. It's like been a huge entire storm. But this you got to start somewhere. You got to start somewhere, and the Clippers actually got the win. Um, this team definitely gives a lot of headaches. Whether it could be the Clippers going on a losing stretch or the Clippers front office decisions. Me, especially during when the Clippers make their decisions as the front office, of course, that would give me some of the headaches. Still pessimistic if I'm being completely honest, but hey, Clippers won a game, so I'm gonna try my best to enjoy it as possible, and I actually did okay. Managed to enjoy the game pretty well. But anyways, let's get player by player. Paul George. Paul George, he started off really hot. He couldn't miss. In the second half, though, he was missing a lot of shots that he should have just made. He doesn't disappoint with rebounding, though. He always rebounds the ball a lot. Get 2 steals, 3 assists. Um, Pretty good defender. Sometimes he gets scored on at times, but and it happens. 23 points, not too bad. Um, could have honestly got 30 if he made it more of his shots, but I guess it is what it is. Kawhi Leonard, 8 for 16, 26 points, 8 rebounds, 5 steals, 2 assists. In my opinion, I think it's much better if Kawhi has way more shot attempts rather than PG. I love PG. He's a really good shot creator, but I just think Kawhi's more efficient, and I think like it would have been better off if Kawhi was like if Kawhi like shot the ball like at least like 22 field goals attempt in my opinion. At least try to get in like 20 field goals attempt in my opinion. Just give Kawhi the ball more often. That's one opinion I could ask. Um, but Kawhi doesn't disappoint. Zubac, he did do better. He finally showed um, what um, what he was supposed to do and what the Zubac I expected him to do. He finally showed up more on defense. 6 for 8, pretty efficient. 2 blocks, 2 key blocks. 7 rebounds, 2 assists. Zubac, he went through a pretty bad stretch, especially since the New York games and the Denver Nuggets. But this game, he did do pretty well. Shout out to him. James Harden. Whew, man, oh man. James Harden's a pretty controversial topics with Clippers fans. Um, you know, it definitely frustrated some fans. Whether like it either it could have been like it took so many minutes from Russell Westbrook, or it just or just the assets we gave up. Me personally, I always said I don't have problem with Harden as a player. I like his game. He's a bucket. He can get rebounds when you need him to. But it's just the way how the Clippers traded for James Harden. I still really don't like the trade. I felt we gave away too many draft capitals. Felt we could have either just, either waited because we had the leverage, or you could have just tossed in Norman Powell in and we would have saved so much assets. But I don't like the trade, but not because I don't like the idea of getting Harden. It's just because Clippers traded way too much. But I'm glad Harden stepped up. He was pretty efficient, 8 for 11, uh, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 24 points. This was his game. This was his game. Terrence Mann, um, he's one of those guys that don't do too much on the offensive end, but you got to consider the factor that um, he's playing with guys like Harden, PG, and Kawhi. So of course he's gonna take a lot of the shot attempts away from Terrence Mann. So don't be fooled by Terrence Mann's low scoring game. He's still pretty productive. He brings defense, he rebounds, 3 assists, and all that. If Terrence Mann goes to another team that gives him the freedom to attempt a lot of shots, don't be surprised if he averages something like 15 points a game. But you know, um, solid. That's solid to see him get the minutes, 21 minutes. But he got a lot of rebounds and assists. Now, I was praising PJ Tucker a lot against the Denver Nuggets game, but I if I had to give like one confession about me in the future is I'm probably gonna flip flop about PJ Tucker a lot because PJ Tucker he played pretty good against the Denver Nuggets, but in this game he was essentially a no show. All he did was like foul and no rebounds, no assists, no points, and his defense was pretty like subpar in this game. But like last game against the Nuggets, though, he was amazing. But this game, I don't know. Like it's like he tries on defense, but I don't know. He would just get scored on a good amount of time during this game. I mean, I don't know. Like if I had to give like a verdict on what I'd rather see with PJ Tucker, personally, I'd rather see the youth played more. Like a guy like a Musa Diabate, because Diabate, he's quick. He has that PJ Tucker grit, but he's quick. And or you could also like if you want like offense, might as well just play Bones Highland. It's criminal that Bones getting a complete DNP. But the thing is, you don't want to play extremely small. But I mean, if PJ's not producing, might as well let Bones, have some have the ability because Bones, like, don't underestimate his ability to hustle. Like, he's not just an offensive player. He hustles the ball pretty well, and I would even dare to say that Bones Highland is a above average defender. He's not a traffic cone. You know what I'm saying? He can play defense if he really tries. So yeah, it really sucks that he got DNP'd. Um, Daniel Tice, he was a new addition for the Clippers, and I would say that's not a bad move. Personally, I would have preferred either Diabate to get a backup spot, or if you did not want to play Diabate, I could have been fine with playing Nerlens Noel. I meant signing Nerlens Noel. He's a pretty solid shot blocker and all that, but I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty impressed with Dice. He was pretty switchable. He was on the right spots. He would make efforts to hustle. So at least for this game, I thought he was pretty solid. Despite his stats not looking too good, but it's not about the stats. It's all about the eye test. I mean, his stats aren't even that bad. Um, Russell Westbrook. First of all, I just want to give a round of applause to Russell Westbrook. He made a huge sacrifice. Russell Westbrook, he earned the whole entire Clipper Nation respect. That man took a pay cut, and then now he told Ty Lue that hey, I'm willing to come off the bench. And Russ, like he might not have had a good game, but this man he took a lot of sacrifice. And whenever you have a guy who's willing to be a team player rather than his own, you know, accomplishment, you just have to give this man a round of applause. And I hope he stays a Clipper for the rest of his career, and I think he will. And I will go as far to say, once Russ' career is over, I would definitely say the Clippers should retire his jersey because I've never seen a man that took this much sacrifice. And 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 I cannot stop mentioning that when there was rumors of the Clippers getting Russell Westbrook, I was so skeptical. I was like anti get Russell Westbrook, but now things changed on the whole entire polar opposite. This man sacrificed a lot just to be a Clipper. He could have easily went to another team that gave him a lot more money and would have gave him the minutes, but this man took a pay cut and he was willing to move to the bench. Shout out to this man. I cannot respect this man more than I could because wow, I don't know anyone who's wanted to do that. Like Russ, he was producing. He would always hustle. He makes the Clippers offense go extremely fast. But even then, he's wanted to move to the bench. Just round of applause. All right, you just had to give this man a round of applause. Norman Powell, he had a semi-inefficient night. He did make some key buckets: 3 for 11, 2 for 5 from three. 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steals, 1 block. Um, Personally, like I said, Norman Powell's a good player, but I would have definitely rather had included him in the James Harden trade because you would have saved a lot of draft capital and all that. And plus, you're having this guy play over Bones Highland. Let's be real. I would much rather see Bones Highland get all of Norman Powell's minutes. And I really hope if the Clippers decide to make a trade, I hope if they just strictly focus on shopping Norman Powell because Norman Powell, he's a good player. He makes buckets when you need him to, but you got to learn how to flip a player while it's high. And Norman Powell, I don't think he really fits his team like truly well because the Clippers already got a lot of scores. You got not only got Bones Highland sitting, you also got Brandon Boston, who's it's due that he gets playing time. Um, so you definitely gotta like shop Norman Powell for something, whether it could be for a first round pick or an athletic power forward that could definitely help this team out, or just a versatile player in general. That would like he's a good player, but again, I definitely would been a huge fan of shopping Norman Powell since I would say like last year. I would say because you gotta kind of like shed some of the shooting guard depths, the guard depths. You know what I'm saying? And now like other than Kawhi, PG, Harden, and Russ, Norman Powell, his trade value is tremendously high. Um, because there are moments when Norman Powell he gets like scored on pretty often on defense. So you could, and then with a guy like Bones Highland, you would get way better results. You get better offense and you get better defense. No shade of Norman Powell, and he had a huge game against the Denver Nuggets, but he's like definitely the most expendable player on this team. And it's not because I don't truly dislike him. Just because you want a player traded, it doesn't mean you hate the player. It's just because you want to find a way to you know upgrade the team with without making a huge sacrifice that you will regret. You know what I'm saying? Like the James Harden trade. You traded 3 first round picks. That is something that the Clippers will There's a high probability that the Clippers will regret. But uh, if the Clippers just like decide to shop Norman Powell for something like in a really good return, the Clippers are not going to really regret it that much, unless if you send him up to a team that is in your division. But other than that, that's my opinion. I mean, heck, even Oklahoma City Thunder's fans I've been seeing on social media, they be willing to want to move on from Josh Giddey. And Josh Giddey is a young player. Guys, he's a guy who could play make and get rebounds. I heard his defense has been off, and I get that feeling because Josh Giddey, he's kind of a household name of younger players, and Oklahoma City Thunders they could get tremendous value from him, and I kind of understand why some Thunders fans they want to flip him to upgrade the team, which is totally understandable. But either way, this was a good win for the Clippers. Obviously, Tyler's rotations, man. Like, see, this is one thing that I don't understand about Ty Lue. When the Clippers get a veteran big, he's okay with playing him. But when our backup bigs are out, and when a guy like Musa Diabate is right there, he doesn't play him. I just don't understand because from what I've seen from Diabate and our other backup bigs, even when it comes to Mason Plumlee, um, I'd say Diabate is better than out of all the three because Diabate he has that ideal switchability and he can play make to an extent and he hustles. He really hustles and he rebounds. So I just don't understand that about Ty Lue on why he doesn't play him. But it is what it is, and the Clippers got a dub. And then let's just talk a little bit about the Houston Rockets. Jabari Smith, he went 4 for 12. He got a good amount of rebounds, 7 rebounds, which is he was supposed to. He's 6'10". He fouled a lot though. Apparently Jabari Smith had an off game. Apparently he's been struggling. I was kind of high on Jabari Smith back in 2020. Last year's draft class, 2022. Um, he was pretty solid in Auburn. He was like a good rebounder. He could shoot. So apparently a lot of people were going crazy about him, me included. And some people thought he was like the number one pick, but then Palo just became the number one pick, which was the right move by the Orlando Magic. Um, you know, Pretty talented player in general. Um, but I guess he hasn't been doing as good, but I don't know. I've not been watching many Houston Rockets game. All I just heard is they've been on a win streak, and so I cannot properly judge Jabari. But nevertheless, personally, I think he's a solid player. I mean, he he does like what you want as a power forward. He could rebound all that, but 5 fouls, that is a lot. Dylan Brooks, he had a way more of a quieter game. 4 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 assist, and he fouled a lot. Dylan Brooks, he's having a resurgence with the Houston Rockets. He's been going off from what I've heard. Alperen Şengün, very talented player. He had more of an off game this game, so the Clippers they got it off easy. Because Şengün, he's usually even more efficient, but he started hitting more shots in the half. But first of all, Şengün, he was missing a lot of shots, but then he stepped up. Nevertheless, you cannot go wrong with a guy like Alperen Şengün. You got 8 rebounds and 4 assists, pretty solid. Um, the Rockets, they got a good one. That's their future big, Fred VanVleet. Man, he was hitting shots, man. 5 for 9 from threes, 10 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Um, I still kind of question that contract. That contract was, whew, that's a lot of money, man. Personally, I would have preferred uh, letting Amen Thompson have all the minutes and let him do the work and all that. But I mean, hey, Amen Thompson, he is hurt, so I guess it kind of worked out. But hey, I guess it was one of those moves that the Houston Rockets really wanted to like speed up the progress and try to like develop the young core way quicker rather than just doing nothing and then just kind of like being mediocre land. So I kind of understood the move, and it's not like they traded anyone. They just kind of like hand out huge contracts and all that. Maybe in the future, like maybe in 2 or 3 years, like maybe once the young core gets developed, they can always try to look into flipping one of them, either Brooks or Van Vliet, for some other assets or draft picks. So I guess that's kind of like one of the positives. Jalen Green, 5 for 16. He made some buckets, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 20 points. He did his job. Jeff Green, Jeff Green, he had a quiet game on the offensive side. Defense, he had some stops, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. Um, he just played his role. Tari Eason, he was a very great bench player. He did his thing. Um, 12 points. He was pretty efficient too. I think Tari Eason is a pretty underrated player, and more people should give him more love because that guy can play defense, and his offense is pretty solid. 6 rebounds as well. Pretty Overall, pretty good performance from him. He made a lot of key shots. Jayshawn Tate, 3 for 5, 6 points, 4 rebounds. Jock Londo, um, 3 rebounds, 2 points. He was pretty key for the Phoenix Suns, and Monty Williams played him a lot of minutes this game. He didn't play too much minutes. Adoka essentially decided to go all in, playing Sengun pretty much the whole game. Understandable, because Sengun, he's a pretty good player. Um, Aaron Holiday, 5 points, um, 2 assists, 1 rebound. He played his role. Um, I was kind of surprised that Cam Whitmore is not in the rotations. Cam Whitmore is a pretty talented player, and in my opinion, would have been great to see him be plugged into rotations. But as a Clippers fan, I'm glad that he didn't play because Cam Whitmore, he's him. He might have a lot of inefficient games, but he plays defense, and when it's on, oh boy, oh boy. But anyways, that should definitely end the video. And the Clippers, they played the San Antonio Spurs, I think, 2 times of next week. So I think that should be a win because the Clippers, they just dominated the Spurs. But I don't know if I'll even catch the game, though, because I might be out of town. But anyways, that should end the video. Thank y'all really much for tuning in. And, you know, hopefully this is the game when we start going on a run. Because we faced the Spurs 2 times. And then we got the Pelicans, I believe, on Friday, which is the Pelicans. They've been a bad matchup for us, man. For some reason, we keep losing to them. And then I believe we face the Denver Nuggets, and then the Dallas Mavericks, and then the Golden State Warriors. So the schedule is it's not towards our favor, but hopefully the chemistry will click through, and the Clippers will start winning games. But anyways, that should end the video. Thank y'all really much for tuning in, and definitely have a great one, and peace.